Well, we're live again. There was no intro this time because I didn't want to.
Oh, we're live, so then I
I
should probably,
just did it, so don't worry. But we are,
I
as of
should
right this
probably
second,
share
we are.
this.
All right, now see. Here's the only thing that sucks though is just like I have to. First of all, I have so many pop-ups on Facebook that need to go away so that I can change.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and I got to be able to reshare this again. So round two with Alfonso.
Oh, we're live, so then I
I
should probably.
just did it.
Huh? And you can hear my audio. I just tested myself. You can hear my audio.
Yep.
Okay. Listen, if we can't hear John's, that's fine.
You know what? Would have been a boring conversation anyway. Just kidding.
No,
We just
I John's a funny guy. I don't know him as well as I wish I did. I don't see him because he's in sales, and I'm not really in sales.
So I don't think John's coming back with us.
Okay.
He said to run the show without him. I don't know what happened. His echo was pretty bad though. So
Why don't you give him the Ecamm live interview like you gave me?
I did. No, I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the only way for that to work is if you did it, he had to do it too. Because then you guys
Oh,
wouldn't be
okay.
able to hear each other. So then of course once he switched over, then he had issues and you were fine. It's it seems to be like that's how it always works. But if you were watching with us before, I apologize for the delay. For whatever reason, the technical gods decided to rain on our parade today, and let us know that hey, you're not going to get it through this show without having some issues. We had some audio issues with Hector, and now John's echo is to the point where he is just bowing out of the show completely tonight. And I do apologize. It is unfortunate, and to be honest with you, this particular issue I'd never seen before. It looks like he's calling in. All right, let's see. All right, so Carney has called back in. Let's see what we got here.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear
I can
us?
hear you.
I can hear you guys. I can. I'm on my phone, so
Oh, all
here
right.
we go.
Well, let's see if that works. Can you guys hear each other?
Yes, I can hear him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we finally find the right recipe or the whatever to
we
make
go.
this work.
The beauty is we have 9 minutes to finish the show, so let's get it all in there. We got 9 minutes. Let's go. Go balls to the wall, man. Let's go.
So Hector, what's the most important part about blending cigars? Let's just jump right into
Oh
that.
my God, yes, selling them. All right, thanks for having me, John. I appreciate it. Thanks for being back on. Selling them, bro. Selling them.
Well, so first of all, so the whole show has been totally messed up, but I'll try to get this on more of a fun note to kick this round two off with.
Listen, I don't want to be that guy, Matt, but the show just started, so we're possible other things could happen. But go ahead.
That's true. That's true. So, well, when it comes to Espinosa, the biggest thing that most happened recently was last week you had Lazona Palooza. So why don't
Oh
you,
my God.
for those who don't know about Lazona Palooza, how did that start? How long has it been going, and kind of what is it?
It was our 5th year. We've done 4 there in the warehouse. We did 1 virtual last year, where I think Guy Fieri actually joined us, where he broke the story that they were going to do a cigar. Listen, it was the idea was, how can we thank, we're a company that was built on social media. So as we were built on social media, we have acquired over the years a nice fan base of guys who really like our stuff, who post our stuff, who share our stuff, very creative with their artwork and their pictures and their posts. So Eric wanted to invite, as the ones that we could remember right off the top, the ones that are the ones that post the most. Right. But when we started doing the math, it was like 125, 130, 140 of these guys who post every day. So he wanted to invite them. We wanted to invite some selected retailers, the ones that we do business with, ones that are lounges. And we also invited some media guys who came to cover it. So that was year 1. Year 1 was maybe, I think we had 140 people at the most. Year 2, we had 165, 170. Year 3, we had almost 200. Year 4 came with the pandemic. So while we didn't have anybody in the studio, we did a couple of 2-hour or 3-hour live shows on Zoom, and we used Facebook to project it and broadcast it. And we still had, we had some nice visitors. We had a nice amount of viewership. And then this year, what we wanted to do, we had planned on doing it in November, like we always do. But we live in Florida, and Florida, Unfortunately, Florida is the epicenter when it comes to COVID, not because we're more susceptible to any other state in the union. So people in Florida don't give a shit. I mean, John lives in Central Florida. I live in Southern Florida. And, COVID is kind of like a yield sign or a stop sign here in Miami. You kind of might want to stop, maybe you don't stop, maybe you run it. People weren't really paying that much attention by this third, by Omicron or whichever it was that came at that time. So we just we just had a genuine concern to bring 200 people to Miami to a mixer where, we could have had one of those, what do you call these things where everybody gets sick? There's a term for that. I can't think of it right now.
Bullshit or super spreader?
Well, super spreader bullshit. I like to combine both of it. One of those bullshit super spreaders. We just didn't feel right about it. And we waited till March. And then listen, we had a nice turnout. A lot of the regulars couldn't make it because they asked for vacation time in November. It was canceled in November. Hence, they couldn't change their vacation time. It was kind of last minute, but we still got a nice turnout. And it's really through 2.5 days of you come to the warehouse, you smoke cigars. We're going to feed you. We're going to give you cigars. We're going to give you things to drink. We're going to keep you busy with activities. And then on the last day, we'll have a big kind of party where at a nice botanical setting there where people come and they relax. And it's nice. I mean, it really is. Eric really goes all out on this event. Everybody loves it. I am in the minority of loving the event. It's a very tough event for me. So just a lot of people. I did, in my previous career, I'm not a big people person. I mean, I like people. I like John. I just met you, Matt. I know there are guys I like, but 150 of your closest friends that's a lot for me sometimes. So I have managed to find my own niche. I also have Jack, who's a great he's a great shield for me. He is quite the people person, and he loves that and enjoys it. And I know I'll go back. I'll walk around every hour. I'll pick a couple of people up, bring them into the office, give them something old to smoke, shoot the shit with them for a few minutes. That makes them feel good. I feel good. I participated. They got involved. They got to talk to everybody at Espinosa, and we move on. My favorite part of Lazona Palooza is that last hour before I know it's over, because I know it's over, man. It's and there's a lot of pressure that goes in putting it together. I mean, you got to feed these people, so you got to make sure that you have good meals for them. We bring an ice cream truck the first night. It's all these grown-ups how they get when they see an ice cream truck. It's actually pretty damn funny. They get really excited. They have the DJ with the music and the people dancing and Eric telling jokes and a lot of it, believe it or not, a lot of it are these guys who know each other from these other groups, not just the Lazona group, but other cigar fan pages that they're on, and they talk to each other for a couple of years online, and then here they come and they get a chance to meet each other, and you should see them. They're sharing cigars and they're I guess they call it bombing when they bomb each other with cigars. I'll give you 3 of these, you give me 3 of that, and they sit and they talk, and they develop this cult of Espinosa, and it's great. I mean, it's great for the brand. Eric enjoys it, and I think we'll continue doing it until he gets tired of it or until who knows. But the best part of all this, after all this is said and done, we won't have another one until November of 2023. So that's 18 months. Got 18 months to recuperate and get ready for the next one.
You got plenty of time.
So
to be
Hector,
prepared.
you're really well known on the social media side. Tell us a little bit. How did you get involved with Eric, and how did it turn into what you do today?
Listen, I worked for the Miami-Dade Police Department for 32 years, and about 2008, 2009, when the economy went to shit here in Miami, the mayor balanced the budget, the county's budget, on the back of his employees. I mean, I was making a nice salary, and then all of a sudden, overtime was gone. We were paying more for insurance. I mean, the cost of living got a little high, and we weren't making the same amount of money we usually made. So I took a job at a cigar store, believe it or not. I was a regular there, and the girl who worked there on weekends quit, and he said, "Hey, can you work on the weekends?" So I worked on the weekends, and I meet Eric. But when it's the early days of Facebook, I look on Facebook and I tell him, I said, me and you have a lot of friends that are similar friends. And he says, "Oh, it's probably cigar people." I said, "No, these are people that I went to high school with." So we sit and talk for a few minutes. Eric grew up a mile and a half from me. But you lived down here for a while, John, right, in Miami?
Yeah, it's 5 years. I
Yeah.
was downtown.
All right. So, but Miami is like most towns, I guess. School boundaries run along, certain parameters. So I lived on one side of 47th Avenue in Miami Gardens. He lived on the other side. So he went to Carroll City High, and I went to American High. But we knew each other we knew friends from the feeder schools. So, I'm working there about a year and a half, and one day he calls me when I'm leaving the station. I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "No, I'm leaving the station." He said, "Hey, meet me by the Home Depot off the turnpike." Well, that's kind of weird. So I meet him there. Then he tells me, "All right." I said, "I call him. I'm here. Where are you?" He goes, "All right, now I want you to drive about a mile and then turn into these blue warehouses." And I remember how they whacked Joe Pesci, bro. I wasn't going out like that. I'm like, fuck, this is weird as hell. So I get to this place, and he's standing there in front of this empty blue warehouse. And I said, "Well, what's this?" And he goes, "This is going to be Espinosa Cigars. Me and Eddie we no longer have a partnership." And his initial idea was to do a bundle business for his son. That's what I think he wanted to do at first. But after what happened with Eddie and the breakup, he decided to do his own brand. So he asked me to come on board. I had no idea what he wanted me to do. Listen, it was an empty 800 square foot warehouse. We didn't have inventory. We didn't have tobacco. We didn't have cigars. And he said, "Just come on and we'll figure it out later." And, and for a couple of weeks, it was just an empty warehouse. I'd leave the office and I'd go to the warehouse and I'd sit there. What the hell are we going to do here? What's going to happen here?
Right.
And then Eric had to buy back his product from one of the online retailers that his product was sold out from under him. Then we brought in product, and then we found the guys in Nicaragua with the factory, and we take a trip down there. We blend a couple of cigars, but he sees that I really like that part of the business. Look, I'm not a salesman. I respect the hell what guys like John and Terrence and Jack that go and sit in shops and have to deal with retailers, because I know. I mean, I'm lucky. The retailer at my store is a great retailer. My Caribbean guy, and what makes a great retailer for me is a guy that every 30 days, he's never late. He pays on time, and he likes bringing in new product, and he likes to smoke. But I know that there are a lot of retailers out there not like that, so it's got to be difficult. But I didn't like that part. I liked the cigar part. And when we went to Nicaragua, I liked going into the fields, and I liked sitting in the barn, and I wanted to go back in there and look at the tobacco. The smell of ammonia didn't really bother me. I really enjoyed what these guys were doing. And I guess Eric saw that, hey, maybe he has some interest in it. So after our first trip there, we get lucky enough that Abe asked us to do one of his microblend projects, which we really needed. I mean, we were a very small company. We didn't, we were microscopic at the time. I mean, we were living off the laurels of what he had done before, but who are you now? What have you done for me lately? So he tells me, "Can you go to Nicaragua next month?" And I said, "Yeah, what day are we going?" He goes, "No, I want you to go." I said, "Well, what do you want me to do?" He goes, "Look, you know what I like. I like your palate. You have a good palate. You know the kind of cigars I like. Work with Carlos, work with a couple other guys that I met in Nicaragua, and come up with some stuff." And I didn't know shit. I mean, I knew what tasted good, but I was still learning Viso from Ligero, from Seco, from this, from that, from Criollo, from Corojo. I was still learning all this stuff. But what really kind of worked is that I knew what he liked. So if we made a blend, I'd go, "No, Eric's not going to like that." So fast forward a couple of days, we're there, we come up with a couple of blends, and I come back to Miami, and, we smoke it. We find a blend that we really like, and it becomes Bunker Buster. And then kind of from there, we took gradual baby steps until we kind of really turned the corner. Our very first corner that we turned in this long race, which was Laranja. Laranja kind of really took off for us, ended up on the top 25. It was the cigar that really kind of, replaced 601 Blue, which was Eric's big cigar when he was with EO.
That sorry, my throat just got really dry.
It's okay. It's okay. At least you can hear me.
I know. At least we all can hear each other now.
Yeah.
Which is great. And again, I apologize for the technical difficulties we
Don't
had
worry
at the
about it,
beginning
bro.
of the show.
Forget about it.
And it looks like most of the people are starting to make their way back now that they see that the show will go on uninterrupted.
And now Hector's technically been a 2-time guest. This is his second appearance
That's
on the show.
true. That's true. That's
Three
true.
more, and I get the green jacket, right? I'm
Yeah.
looking. I'm looking.
Yeah.
I'll look
Uh,
at Paul Greco. Never hold their whole story. Yeah.
yeah. I was gonna say Paul DeGracco's here with us. Never heard the whole story. That was awesome. Um,
That's why I asked, because I don't think a lot of people know how you and Eric ran into each other, the connections you had, and I think we tend to forget that a lot. I know I forget it when I talk to people about our brand and things. I forget that people don't necessarily always understand that, and it's usually a unique circumstances that are quite entertaining. And I think for the general public, like, it's a pretty normal interaction that you had with someone that you created this connection with, and you already had this connection with, and then you just were in the right place at the right time when he was looking to take things to another direction.
Really,
And it's
you
not
hit
like
it.
you applied on like Monster, and
No, but
found this position.
you hit it right on the head. I've always related. I mean, I'm a big TV guy. I grew up watching TV. I love TV. I don't watch as much as I used to, but there was a show called Night Court. I don't know if you ever guys saw Night Court with the judge.
Night Court's awesome.
All right. So there's a moment that Dan Larroquette asked him. He goes, "How did you become a judge? You were 135th on the list to become a judge." And he says, "I was home when they called." I mean, I answered the phone when he called me. Imagine that had I not answered the phone, I'd probably still be on the department, and who knows? I'd probably be miserable, or but I'm happy doing this. And listen, Matt, I mean, like we said, we just met, and I know John a little bit, but I like being the guy. I mean, I like being the guy behind the guy. I'm more comfortable at that. This is Espinosa Cigars. It's his brand, and I work for him, and I'm very happy to work for him. And I couldn't be here today on your show and the other shows that I do and the stuff I do with Jack and the social media stuff had I not had this chance to break into this great industry. I enjoy this industry. I enjoy what we do, and and there are times that I'm a little humbled that 10 years ago. I mean, we've been together 10 years now. Just 10 years ago, we were in a little warehouse with no tobacco, not a single box of cigars, and here we are. So it's a very humbling experience.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the rise or the growth of the business. Anytime anyone comes on the show and they tell that story of like whether how they started with an existing company and they came up the ladder, or they started the brand from nothing, and they've grown it to what it is today. I mean, the journey is somewhat always the same, but the story is always different, and it's always awesome to hear that story of how how it did happen, and because everything starts with nothing.
Listen, I would like to think that I will, when I retire for good, I will, I'll still be with Eric, and I'll be one of those few guys that's only worked in one place. I mean, we talk about it all the time. We go to the show, and what do we talk about after the show? Well, this guy went from here to there, and then this guy went back to this company, and this guy went around. Cigar people are like left-handed relief pitchers. If you can throw strikes, if you're left-handed and you can still throw strikes, you can pitch till you're 45, 50 years old.
Yeah.
So it's a great It's a great business. It really is.
Or a knuckleballer.
Or a knuckleball. If you can, if you can throw 200 innings, somebody's going to want you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. John, I think you're also part of that exclusive club because you've only been with La Flor Dominicana, right?
Yeah, 11 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been fortunate to be in the same place, which is rare now. I mean, you look at some of the really strong people in our industry, and that's people that have jumped around, for different circumstances and whatnot. But when you get to be in one place for a special, it turns into something real special. They said 11 years here. You've been doing it for 10. It's definitely it's definitely a unique thing in any business, especially in cigars. And it said people, again, the left-handed relief pitcher thing was one of the best analogies I've ever heard with it.
Thank
It's
you.
such a great analogy. It's exactly what it is. It's like, and if you'd actually pitched on a major league team, it's like somebody's going to give you a shot, whether you deserve it or not.
Is that Charlie Lebrand? Yeah, he's 42, man, but he can still throw. He can still throw strikes.
Yeah.
He's throwing 72 miles an hour, but he's still throwing strikes. And listen, I mean, John, and I'm sure John can attest as well. All your hard work, and then you start, you turn that. I've always called it the corners. You kind of turn a corner, or you go over a speed bump. You turn that corner, and then John and his company already achieved that great milestone, Cigar of the Year. I mean, that's that's something that, I mean, I walk into the office sometimes, or I'll leave late, and I look around and I'm like, how the hell did we get here? I mean, how the hell did we get here? We used to share 2 desks. We were on top of each other like lab rats. And, now we've got this huge warehouse. I mean, people know, people want me to sign their cigar box. I'm still like, why would you want me to sign your cigar box? Oh yeah. It makes me a little uncomfortable. I've learned to deal with it. Don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of fun, man. I mean, this micro world is a lot of fun.
John, do you
So
ever have
since
to
we were
sign
talking about,
autographs?
and I don't sign boxes. No, I don't do that.
Oh, you have a signed contract. You have a signature contract.
No, I don't make the cigars, man. I sell them and represent them. So for me, I have very little to do with actual blending. So it's, I reserve that for Lito and people with the last name Gomez. But you were talking about ratings and whatnot. And Laranja was in the the mainstream side of it, outside of the massive social media presence that you said the company's been built off. Laranja was, I believe, the number 2 or 3 cigar of the year with Cigar Aficionado. That really was a big deal for you all, and that line, is knuckle dragger is a little bit different concept. You got a celebrity behind it, the guy,
Knuckle
but that
sandwich.
Laranja was
Knuckle
really
sandwich,
a
knuckle
cigar that's a brand that really stood on its own, and to have that type of recognition must have been a big deal for you all and for your plans going forward. So if you would touch on that a little bit.
It was. I mean, listen, that year. I mean, that year we had such a buzz for Laranja that I almost felt bad for our other releases that year because, like I said, they got caught in the jet stream of what Laranja was. I remember telling Eric, "Hey, we can't give up on these other lines. Just we have to ride this Laranja thing till the end." And at the end of the year, when they tabulated their scores, Laranja had like the 3rd or 4th highest score, but according to their scoring system, between 5 and 15 all had the same rating, and I guess they slot them however they decide to slot it. So we ended up, actually, I would have liked to have been number 2 or 3, but we were number 13 that year. But still, it was a big deal. We were a company that we had been around 4 years now, even though Eric had actually we had been around 3 years. So it was a great moment for the company.
I always used to joke around. If somebody gets the 25th cigar of the year and it's someone that I'm friends with, I always congratulate them on having the worst best cigar.
The worst best cigar. It's
Yeah,
what do you call the
so,
guy who gets drafted last? What do you call the guy who gets drafted last?
Tom Brady.
Huh?
Tom Brady.
No. The
He
guy
wasn't
who's
really
the last pick.
last.
The guy who's the last pick in the draft. When the last team makes the last, they have Mr. Inconsequential or Mr. Irrelevant. It's Mr. Irrelevant. You're the last guy drafted in the draft. It's top 25s. Making the list for the other media guys. All of that is great. I mean, and we appreciate all of it. But let me tell you something. The competition has really gotten tough in the last few years, especially now with COVID. I mean, people, small companies are getting traction, and then obviously, we've been hit with the same bug that all the other companies of our size have with back orders. And if it's not the cigar, it's the band. And if it's not the band, it's the boxes. It's always something, it's always something, but like somebody in the industry told me, look, just be happy you have something. Just be happy you have something. There's Coop with the saltiness.
Yeah, Coop is watching.
I
Every
know.
cigar company will take a number 25 on Cigar Aficionado over a number 1.
Well, I wouldn't
outlet.
know. I wouldn't know. He hasn't given us a number 1 yet. I can't say that.
Well, another thing that was funny with top 25 list too, it's like if the cigars have similar like number ratings.
Mm-hmm.
So like say you mentioned like number 5 through like 15. So like
Mm-hmm.
I'd say like, hey, congratulations on tying for 5th.
Right.
Like it was. It's just another joke. If it's someone I'm close with, I make those jokes to them. So I kind of have a fun time with that. But it's an honor to be. You mentioned it's an honor to be on any list. If
Any list, it is an honor
to put your brand on there, and it is really genuine.
And to answer Coop's statement a little bit better, it's probably falls on us who work for the other manufacturers to get the point across that all the lists have value.
Yeah,
not just the
absolutely.
print, just not the print media stuff.
Yeah,
So
and there's definitely and there's a little bit. We've talked about this a lot lately. Within media, in house, and with the peers of the media. The cigar of the year thing has really just it's changed. It's changed so much. I mean, you went from David Garofalo claims to be the first one to do it, but then you have Cigar
Well,
Aficionado who started doing
well, he
yeah,
it.
really was. But he really was. I
He
mean,
was.
he started doing that, man, in the early '90s. If you go into his store and you look at the plaques that he has, I mean, he was doing it in like 1990, and then it got big in the mid to late '90s. So he really did start doing that type of the thing in terms of the brands, and it's had such a huge impact on the industry. Where now there's a plethora of lists, and they're all high quality, and
Yeah.
it's such a unique thing that started that's really taken off. Such
He's
action
always
around it.
he's always saying too. He's like, like I started it, and then like Cigar Aficionado does it, and now that's the only one that anyone
oh,
ever pays attention to.
yeah, they ripped them off. They ripped them off.
They stole his idea.
Everybody steals his ideas. You come on, everybody steals his ideas.
Well, hey, when you got good ideas, people are going to take them. So
And
He
and
he
if
does
and,
he
and if
does
it's
have
and
good
if it's
stuff.
true and if it's so long ago nobody remembers, they go, yeah, of course you did. I started that. Oh, yeah, of course. You did. Listen,
yeah,
listen.
yeah.
We listen. At the end of the day, I think we all just want to have a really well received cigar. I mean, there are some cigars that don't make lists. Somebody told me one day, they went, hey, you guys have so many of these 90s and shit. I go, yeah. And I said, there are guys who've worked their whole life in the tobacco industry who haven't had this kind of success. I mean, I don't think we're better than anybody else. And I just think we've been lucky. I really do. I really kind of believe in that whole Gladwell tipping point. You got your cigar in the right guy's hands, who got it in the other person's hands, who reviewed it, and it took off. I mean, the tipping point thing is huge. I think in the tobacco industry. How many? I'm walking before Jack worked with us. I was walking with him through the shop, through the PCA or the whatever the hell it was called then, the IPCPR, and I said, there are a lot of good cigars here, and he said there are a lot of great cigars here that you're never going to hear of again. So we should just count our blessings, and we do. I mean, I can speak for ourselves. We count our blessings that we've been as fortunate as we have in the last couple of years.
Yeah, Alex Lancaster commented earlier, having an Estella now, what an underrated cigar.
That cigar, and he's smoking a cigar that's easily 7 or 8 years old.
Yep.
Because we haven't made that in 6 or 7 years, at least 6 or 7 years.
Do you think that some of the lists, or I won't say ratings, because I think but just the lists. Do you think that some of the lists, or do you think there's too many lists? Do you think some of the lists have gone out of control? Or do you think for the most part there's just a lot of fish in the pond, and it's just always kind of hard for everyone to...
Listen, my problem with the lists have always been, and I'm friends with all the media guys, and well, not all of them, but the
Majority.
I like to say the core of the majority of the core of them I'm friends with outside of cigars. And listen, I think a list should have diversity. There should be just like my palate is diverse and your palate, and I mean, I've got to assume that you guys have to believe me when I tell you I smoke more than Espinosa. I smoke a lot of stuff, not just the stuff I make, but the stuff that other people make, because I believe that in my position, I should know what's new and what's the new hotness, as they say. I got to try this. I got to try that. I want to try other people's cigars. But it's hard when you run across a list and it has, it's the top 5. Let's say the Joe Dirt's top 5, and 4 of them are from the same manufacturer. Listen, I get it. You love them. But, you're going to tell me you didn't have a chance to try 25 cigars this year? And of the 25 you tried, only these 4 from that manufacturer are good? Some of those things kind of frost my ass a little bit. But what are you going to do? Listen, it's a free country. Everybody has a right to it. And I guess we got to just grin and bear it.
I mean, there's some truth to that, too. I mean, it is hard to look at a list and then the first 4 are like, outside of the first one, somewhere, like you said, the top 5, even outside the top 5, just having a group of them all together, it's kind of like, oh.
If you asked me to pick my top 20 cigars or my top 10 cigars, I don't think I'd have a duplicate in there. I don't think I'd have 2 from any manufacturer. There's just so many great cigars. I just don't think I could have 2 from manufacturer. And then there are some lists where some guy is a fan of a brand that only sells to like 2 shops, but that's his number one cigar. Nobody's ever heard of it.
Right.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I mean, we did our first, you know, cigar of the year list, for 2021, and we don't do reviews here, so a lot of it just was kind of just a lot of smoking stuff, re-smoking it, and just trying to put a list together and just trying to decide on which ones we liked or which whatever. It was hard to do. I mean, I know the guys who do it based on reviews is a little different. They do it off the score, like Coop or Half Wheel. It's off of the scores and whatever, and then from there it gets kind of down to that too. But no one's job is easy. I'll just say that no one's job is easy. But just doing it for the first time and not even having like the ratings and the numbers aspect to it too, it was like, damn, this is fucking hard. We really wanted to do it because we want to do it too, and it's fun to put out the list and to see people. Oh, that one made it, but like putting it together, it is hard, and it's trying to decide. Like as you go, you start at kind of like the bottom. Like, well, what should 20 through 15?
When did you smoke this one? Did you smoke? Were you coming off an illness? Had you just eaten? Did you smoke it in the morning? Did you only have one? You have all these questions that can be part of how you come up with these lists. Listen, all I ask for is consistency in your platform, and you're good with me.
Absolutely. We have a question from Trent Smith. Hector, when are you coming to Life and Times?
I am supposed to go this year. My good man MJ and Cigar Mike said that they wanted me to come to Atlanta. I figure that they just figure I'm some kind of playboy that I'm just going to roll up into Atlanta and do what I got to do. But hey, I'm there, man. I've got no problem. I'll go anywhere. I'll go anywhere.
I'll never travel as much as the two of you, but I'll tell you, with the traveling we do, like we have to be really strategic with it because this is not our first job. But
listen,
I'm like, damn,
I don't
there's
travel.
So many events.
Carney just told before we started. Carney says I'm only going to travel about 48,000 miles this year. That's about 25,000 more than I'll travel. I don't,
yeah, and that's a light year for me.
And that's a light year for him. I mean, listen, Jack and Eric traveled the most. Jack traveled about 75,000 miles last year. Eric close to about 75,000, and that's a year after COVID.
Right.
I traveled I made gold status actually, so I traveled about 30,000 miles last year. But I also went to Vegas, and then I went to Seattle and Idaho to go do some events out there. Because believe it or not, I do some events, but my events are mostly at like nerdy stores. The guys that they want you to sit down and go through the smoking experience with them, and open the cigar and tell them what's in here, and this is this and this is that, and this is how we got to that. I do really well in those shops. In the other shops where there's a lot of patting on the handshaking and patting on the back and stuff like that, Jack does great in those. And where you have to entertain, that's probably Eric does the best as well. I mean, I like to go to the stores where I'm more comfortable, and I think I'm appreciated more. Listen, I'm not the face of the company. Eric is the face of the company. I've been with them since day one. I'm one of the faces, but we all have and we're pretty strong, believe it or not, for a small company. We have some pretty good personalities in our company, but we don't, we all have our strengths.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Everyone has their part, so to speak, in the company. And John, you'd probably say the same thing. At LFD. LFD being in terms of like the hierarchy or the staff, it's a smaller group as well. There's Lito, there's Inez, there's Tony, and there's you, and and everyone has their own role, and everyone does their thing, and everyone has their part, but it all comes together for the benefit of the whole brand. And without one of those legs, the whole table would collapse. It's true. It's important. We have a question here from David. Hello from Tucson, Arizona. What is Hector's favorite size? The Laranja.
My favorite size in almost everything we make, and this is my fingerprints on the company. Anything that you see 6x48, that was me. I love 6x48. I think it's a great size. I don't like big cigar ring sizes, and I'm not to get into that whole wrapper to filler ratio bullshit. I like the comfort of a 6x48, and the Kaixa is the 6x48 Laranja, and it's box pressed. That's my favorite of all the Laranjas. And I will tell you a little secret, David. I don't smoke a lot of Laranja. I don't smoke a lot of Laranja because I remember how we started. And, we didn't have cigars, and that was our best cigar, our most popular selling cigar. I felt bad smoking it. I know that me smoking one meant there was an open box that we couldn't sell. So I mean, I just felt really guilty about that. So if you ever come to Espinosa, you ever come to see me or Jack or the Eric, and you come in my office, I'm smoking something with a white band on it. It's usually an old test band or an old tester or something that didn't quite make it. But you know, I try not to smoke a lot of the stuff that we sell because it just there's something instilled in me that because we started we started with nothing. So it's kind of instilled in me to smoke the stuff that we sell that sells well.
Pizza Mike's with us tonight. Shout out to him. What's Hector Alfonso's favorite Espinosa cigar?
Ah, favorite Espinosa cigar. I like the first 6 provinces that we did. That's my favorite of all the things we've ever done. It was that first 6 provinces in the little swing box that looked like a Chivas Regal, Chivas Rivas, the whiskey that comes in the little shake. That was my favorite of all the cigars I've ever made. The one I'm most proud of is probably the Crema because I don't smoke Connecticut. I don't smoke Connecticut wrap cigars, and I was tasked to go to Nicaragua and blend a couple of Connecticut's. And so I went and I made 5 Connecticut's. 4 ended up being production for us and some other people we make cigars for. But I remember vividly getting back to Miami, and Eric's like, "Are they good?" I said, "Well, you're asking the wrong guy." I don't know. I mean, they seem to smoke pretty good. Nobody threw up. Nobody threw them out. But I'm not the guy. But now since then, Jack's joined the team, and Jack is a big Connecticut smoker. So, and Jack, by luck or coincidence or whatever, he loves the crema that we do. So,
Let me ask you this question. I think we had talked about this before, not on the show, in another conversation. I think it was with you. Um, in terms of the wrapper tobaccos, there's a lot of different cigars on the market now. People using all different wrappers, and there's or not even just a wrapper, all the tobaccos combined. In your opinion, what do you think is the most overused? Like, when someone says, "Oh, that song is so overplayed," what is the most overused wrapper in the business? Where you're just
I
like,
am
"Oh,
I am
so
I
many of
am
them."
I am going to draw such incredible ire here. Just this week, somebody came to the Lozona Palooza with two sets of T-shirts, one for me and one for Eric. One T-shirt said, "Eric, Mr. Habano Espinosa," and mine was Hector, "No Habano Espinosa." I am just over Habano Rosado. I just am. Well, I'm over Habano Rosado. That light Habano that Eric loves his wrapper. I'm over it because I know it's traditional. When you think of Habano, you think of that, but I'm so over Habano. But like I was telling you guys before, whenever we do anything, any project that we do, like a kosher meal, Habano is always I always have a Habano substitute in case he didn't like the broadleaf or he didn't like the Mexican or the Sumatra. We have a Habano alternative. I'm just over Habano. I really am. The only Habano I really, really like that we make is the green, the 601 green, which is a high priming Oscuro wrapper, real dark. I like Habano Oscuro. I like, but the light Habano, I'm over it. I'm just over it. And I'll tell you a funny story. We did Crema, which is Connecticut, and one of the first things I wanted to do was bring back our predicate date 601 Black, which is an old 601 from the EO days. And I remember having the meeting, and he's like, "Well, if we bring back another Connecticut, that's gonna bite. It's gonna take away some of the sales from the Crema." And I'm like, "Well, no, it's not really. They're 2 different cigars. They're completely different profiles." And I said, and it doesn't stop us from making our 15th Habano. I mean, we've got 15 already. I mean, we can go in another direction here, But like I said, name of the company, he likes Habano. So, but I'm a little tired of it.
John,
I know it's not a popular thing to say, but I'm a little tired of it.
John, I'll ask you the same question too, because I'm just curious to get your opinion on this, with your experience in the industry.
Well, here's the issue. There's only so many wrappers to use, really, right?
Right.
It's not like an endless list of them for the most part. If there was, you'd have everybody coming out with cigars with different wrapper names and everything like that. So there's just only so many tobaccos that are dedicated for wrapper. So I would say less than something that's like overused. I would say one of the biggest challenges in the cigar business is because there's really no manufacturer that's exclusively growing wrapper for every single one of their cigars. It's just like trends. Whatever's hot is hot. So it's like for 1 year, Sumatra is going crazy, and every cigar that comes out Sumatra. And then 6-7 years ago, it was like every single cigar was San Andreas.
Yeah.
So it in this industry, the trends are when something's hot, everybody's making it. So I would say that's the biggest challenge is you'll see like new blends come out, and then it's like everyone's Sumatra, or then every new blend that came out this year is like Habano. So I would say less of it overuse than the trends in the business are really dictated by, especially with wrapper for new products, are based off of what's hot. And I would say like right now, one of the hottest wrapper tobaccos for the last few years has been Corojo. Corojo has been real hot lately,
It's
but
been
I'm
really
going to go
blown
with
up,
Hector
yeah.
on the Habano one. Like it's classic, it's traditional. It's the name itself by Habano is just provocative. So I would say that's the one of them. If you had to pick one, I'd probably go Habano.
And John, I can add on to what John's saying. Not only does, I remember like 5 or 6 years ago, everybody came out with a Connecticut. And then I think 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, everybody was doing everybody did a Cameroon. Cameroon was very hot. And not only wrapper sizes go through trends, sizes go through trends. There was a Lancero craze several years ago, then the 660, then the big Toro. It does. It's very cyclical. And when I talk Habano, yeah, there's John's right. There's not a hundred different wrappers you can use, but he likes Ecuadorian Habano. He doesn't like Habano grown in Nicaragua because it doesn't burn the right way. He doesn't like the Honduran one. It doesn't like the taste of it. Dominican wrapper. It's all of these things, but I'm
Right.
just over Habano, man. I'm over Habano. I'm over it. I'm over it.
So let me ask you a question on this, because this topic comes up from time to time. This is one that I've talked to Coop about a lot, and anybody who knows Coop well enough knows that he has a reputation for this, but then he always likes to defend his stance on it. I'm sure he'll chime in the comments. When it comes to Lanceros, what is your true feeling on Lanceros? Do you love them? Do you hate them?
I like them. I don't love them, but I like them. And John could probably give you a different perspective being a sales manager. I sit at my shop and he'll tell me Lancero smokers are kind of like Corona smokers, are kind of like Lonsdale smokers. They love to see it. They love to see it. They love to smoke it, but they don't buy boxes. They'll buy, there's always a Corona they can smoke. There's always a Lancero they can smoke. From the retail side, listening to my buddy who owns the shop, he has this problem. But I like Lanceros. I don't smoke them a lot, but I like Lanceros. But sometimes you got to give the people what they want. We make several Lanceros and they do very well.
I was gonna say, because
So
if I wasn't mistaken, you guys have a lot of Lanceros within your, or
we
a
have a
fair
lot of
amount.
Lanceros,
Yeah.
but we have a lot of guys who like Lanceros who ask for it. You know what we don't have and we should have? We should have more Coronas, especially for guys who live in the Northeast.
Hmm.
Now, when it gets cold at the end of the year and you only have 30 minutes or 45 minutes, do you have time to smoke a 6x54? No, but if you can smoke a 5x42, and so we've got a couple of Coronas in the lineup. We have more Lanceros than we do Coronas. I'll tell you what, we don't have a lot in the lineup. We only have 2 torpedoes in all of our lineup. We only have 2 torpedoes, and I think that comes from the fact that neither Hector nor, I'm sorry, talking to the third person, neither I or Eric or ever have a cutter on us. So it's having a bellicoso or torpedoes. We don't use cutters, so we don't make them. Believe it or not, it's weird, but that's we don't really get a big demand for, hey, can you make that in a torpedo? When a guy would come into the shop, when I worked in retail, the guy would come into the shop, hey, I like this in a torpedo. I go, why don't you save the 80 cents and buy the Toro?
Yeah, no, and here's the thing. No, they wouldn't. Is the thing. They wouldn't. If they're smoking torpedoes, they're smoking a certain blend or a
and he's
certain
right.
brand
And
they've
John,
been loyal towards. They don't. They
he's
really
absolutely right.
torpedoes are just bellicosas are dead unless they're like a double figurado or some unique size and shape. But like torpedoes, just the same thing with like Lanceros. People just don't buy them as often. So that's why you don't see them as often. And if anyone tells you that it's the best seller, it's absolutely freaking not. Toro's been the best seller across every single retail outlet for the last like 20 years. you know, It's still Toros still outsell the 60 ring gauge stuff. Even for us, our top 5 SKUs are all 60 ring gauge. But the Toros, when you go to a retail shop, Toro is still the size.
Yep, I agree with him.
Pizza Mike threw out Solomon's as well. What was I gonna say? I just lost my train of thought.
Solomons are really like a treat. For the most
Yeah.
part, there's a lot of tobacco in them. If you make an authentic size Solomons, like a 7x64, and generally that's pricey. There's a lot of tobacco in it. So really, Solomons are like a treat. At the end of the day, which I would say Solomons probably sell better than Lanceros do, just because of the nature of the size and whatnot. But to what Hector was saying, if you put a Lancero in a shop because somebody wants one, they're going to want it. They want to see it. They'll buy one every month, and it'll take 2 years to sell a box.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something that we've known, and we've countless manufacturers come on the show. I remember, John, you were actually on this show when Nick Perdomo was on last time. I think we asked him about Lanceros, and it was one of the things he was like, people always bug me for them, but like I hate making them because the same reason. It's, people ask for them, and we make them, put them in a box, and it's like they buy one, and then that's it, and then the box sits there until that guy comes back again and buys another one, and then the box continues to sit on the shelf.
And I'm sure there's people listening to the show that buy boxes of Lanceros, and we appreciate you a lot. We do appreciate that, but for the most part, it's you're so backed up on other SKUs that it's like, let's stop them from making Toros and Gordos,
absolutely,
or chisels, and like go have them make Lanceros. So it just doesn't economically, in terms of the economies of scale, it makes no sense.
We make one little mini Perfecto Salomon. We make one in our whole lineup, but we have probably 4 or 5. We have about 5 or 6 Lanceros. It's weird. I mean, that's just that's how it's been for us.
Yeah. Absolutely, and every company's going to have a different trend in terms of like what they make,
I know
what they sell,
I can't think of the name of the shop, but I know there's a shop like in Texas, John, that it's like Lancero.
Stogies.
Everybody makes a Lancero.
We have a shop right here in our town, right here in Watertown, Mass. We have Cigar and Lounge. They're a huge Lancero. You walk in the humidor, it's all Lanceros, and they're actually a big Espinosa count too.
Cool.
They have a lot of the the Laranjas and whatnot, in the Lanceros. They got a lot of my father's Lanceros, Tatuai's Lanceros, the big Lancero store, and it's
sad
so
to hear
unique.
That. It's sad to hear.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question. Though. Like, this isn't calling any of those shops out by any means, but you just said they always have Lanceros. These companies you just mentioned don't make Lanceros year round. So if they're always there's something else that's moving faster. I'm not saying it doesn't have a home and it's not a great presentation to do that. But unless you're launching something, doing an event or whatever, if you always have them in stock, nobody's making Lanceros really every single month. It's just not a real thing. So it does. They just move slower. Now you may have more people that buy it in one area. That's great, but it's still a Double Hero 700 Maduro sells faster than any Lancero in the market. I promise you that. I guarantee you, your bigger ring gauge sizes outsell your Lanceros 20 times over. So it's great having them, but it's just the reality.
I'm sad to hear John say that, because I do love the Double Hero Lancero that you guys make.
That is a good one. That one and the what's the other one? The Cameroon Lancero.
Cameroon's delicious, yeah.
Yeah, that one is fantastic. I think that's one of my favorite LFD Lanceros. Well, it's one of my favorite LFD lines, but the Lancero is really good. I do want to hit our news segment really quick. Our news segment is once again brought to you by McAuliffe Cigars. If you head over to McAuliffeCigars.com today, you can become a McAuliffe ambassador. Oh, and I lost John. Hold on, let me get him back in there. There we go. And you'll sign up, get your official ambassador number and your ambassador coin. While you're at it, join the ambassador group on Facebook, where you can hang out with all your fellow ambassadors, McAuliffe Cigars. This week, news came out of Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Yes, that's right. Steve Saka's at it again. They have announced the Muestra de Saka the Bewitched. Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust is currently taking pre-orders for the Bewitched, its newest addition to a much-heralded Muestra de Saka line. The deadline for pre-orders is April 8th, 2022. Always exciting to see what Steve's got going on. He's always got some new thing.
He's so quiet. He's hardly ever in the news. Hardly ever posts anything. He's so humble and quiet. I mean, it's like pulling nails. I mean, pulling teeth to get him to to tell you what's going on. I mean,
Yeah, if you could just get an opinion out of that guy every once in a while.
it's a shame that he doesn't share as much as I wish he would have.
You know, he doesn't write like these long posts like every time he posts on Facebook too, like some people do. I
No,
mean,
hardly at all.
you know, and he doesn't like to put in his own little like snickers and laughs too into the commentary. So as you're reading it, you're actually like hearing him going like,
Only guy I've ever heard say this. My cigar might not be for you. Where'd you learn that? Who says that? Self-deprecating. Yeah,
is a great sales is a great sales technique.
absolutely.
Yeah, he's he truly is unique. He hasn't been on the show yet. We still need him on the show. And John, when he comes on,
Listen, Matt, I'd like to be on your show, but I'm just too busy right now. How about Thursday?
Well, John, I forget. So I always forget what it is. Was it you and him have like this little beef? Is it because you called him out?
We don't actually have any beef.
Shit got good here all of a sudden. Hold on.
Yeah, no. I went off one day on the brulee, and
that's what it was. The brulee.
We've quelched our issues and I got a ton of respect for Steve, and we actually had a lot of fun with it. So it turned into something fun.
Did your meatballs beat his? I know you didn't win, but didn't you?
No, I finished second. I finished second in the meatball contest twice, and I made him a brulee meatball where I took sugar and put it on it and bruleed it and served him a brulee meatball. And I said, it's so sweet. It's sweet on the tip. I don't know why, but
I don't know why. But I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened at the factory.
Yeah. But no, we had a good little back and forth with that for a while, and it was fun. He's a great guy.
Listen, and I don't know how he is when he talks to the media guys, but when he's around, guys who in the industry, on this side, when he starts to tell stories, I mean, it's very, very few guys who can tell stories like this. I mean, he can keep you entertained. Some of his stories are fantastic. You can't repeat them, but they're fantastic. Just absolutely fantastic.
Like not only are the stories good, but the way he tells, he's a good storyteller too.
Sure. I mean, look, he's been around a long time. I mean, he's one of the original guys with the bulletin boards and all this other shit, and worked for Lou Rothman. I mean, come on, he's been around a little bit,
Oh yeah, he's definitely earned his stripes, and now he's trying to grow his own baby with Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust, and he's done a great job so far.
Just ask him.
Yeah, he's just ask him.
We love you, man. We love you. We kid.
We've been trying to ask him. We can't get him on the show.
I know he won't come. Like he's like, yeah, just send me an email. We send him an email, and it just fizzles out.
You just gotta go to his house for. You gotta go through Lafferty. Go through Lafferty.
I'm gonna dress up in a bikini and whatever, and do Instagram live videos with him. See if he'll come on.
Didn't you just say the other day that you're like at 295 now?
Yeah, well, I've lost a little bit of weight in the last week. I had some injuries in the gym.
That's a lot to put in a bikini, dog. I'm just trying to tell you.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm mostly. I got a really big upper body, so I think it would look nice and be appealing. But,
nice. Okay.
We'll see if it works, but I'll do what I got to do.
Yeah.
Hot is hot, bro. Hot is hot.
Yeah, it's true. Hey, so you know what? Everyone finds something else different. That makes that they find hot. It's like
there's an ass for every seat.
That's right. Someone will find it and be like, "Wow, that's hot." I mean, clearly his wife did. She married him. You know what I mean? So,
sweet woman.
John, you haven't been on the show in a while, and I know we have Hector on, and we do have a guest here, and I do love that.
Yeah, this is my second time on. Go ahead.
But I just, it's also like I'm trying to remember here too. Like, John hasn't really been on the show a lot. Like I gotta hear some of the classic things from him. So, one of the things you wanted to talk about on the show tonight, I know you're not doing the demonstration, but you wanted to talk a little about your soaps that most of our viewers remember you for. I don't want to say no because you haven't been on a while, so they remember from previous times.
So I have. It was known that Dr. Squatch became some of my favorite soaps throughout the year, and they had a lot of limited edition stuff. And even though they're big, they really fall in the craft category. So in lieu of a soap review tonight, since I'm out in front because we've got some fierce weather coming through here shortly, I know it's March, but I would like to announce my official soap of the year.
Oh.
And this was a latecomer. I started using this bar in December, and it turned out to be by far my favorite. This is a big deal. So this 2021 Smokin Tabacco Carney Soap Review Soap of the Year is the Dr. Squatch Moonrock. This was a limited edition that came in a collector's set with a Mars bar, Area 51. And the thing that really got me on Moonrock was it's a heavy grit. You can see heavy grit soap. It really does look like moon. It's beautiful. The
Just
scent
that
of it's
plain
excellent.
gray.
The lather of it's great. But really, the heavy grit is what did it for me, and the creaminess of it, the feel, the texture on the skin. And I use this for hand washing, and I use this for body washing. And I said, this is a latecomer. I have 2 bars of this. The first one's gone. I now have just this one left. It's almost impossible to get your hands on now. But yeah, the 2021 Soap of the Year is the Dr. Squatch Moonrock. It's moonflower oil and pumice. It's a heavy grit 5-ounce bar. It's part of the Galaxy edition. And here's the readings on the back. Lather up this cold processed soap and scrub down daily. Great for all skin types. This is the doc's notes. Great stuff, man. So 2021 Soap of the Year is your Moonrock by Dr. Squatch, heavy grit. We've already started off new soaps this year. We'll have some new reviews. I just got in the Batman collection, and I've been looking for some other soaps around too. But we're starting off the year strong with the collection of soaps. But it's always appropriate to end before we start again. So there you go. Moonrock. If you can find it, get it.
Do you exclusively use your Dr. Squatch bars like just in the shower? Do you use them like at the sink too?
I use them in the sink, mostly 95% in shower. I test it out with hands first just to see if I like the scent, if it's something I'm going to want to bathe with. And that's how Moonrock came in. I pulled it out. I washed my hands. I was like, this is pretty nice. I really like the grit on it. And if I said, for me, the heavy grit with Dr. Squatch is where it's at. Like I'm using one. They have the American edition one that I have. It's red, white, and blue. It's actually one of my least favorite soaps besides the color scheme. I really don't enjoy it that much, and I have several bars of it because I really just like the heavy grit. It feels good, cleans off the skin, gets the dead skin off. Whether it does or not, I feel like heavy grit cleans you better. So that's most of the ones that I preferred have been the heavy grits, and it's not surprising that a heavy grit was my soap of the year.
I mean, Nicole's not with us. She is the skincare expert on the show. For those who don't know, Nicole is an esthetician. So she would probably say it makes sense because of the grit, like you said, files off all the dead skins and all the stuff on it. So it definitely leaves you feeling cleaner and fresh. The skin is smoother after. The exfoliation factor, I know because I get told every day how I need to exfoliate. It's what happens when you have someone who's an esthetician. You're constantly being told how your skin is your number one priority.
I've got to step up my soap game. I'm still using Gojo and Lava, so I mean I got to step my shit up. I mean,
those have grit though. I mean,
yeah, but it's not
good.
the right kind of grit. My grip doesn't. Mine leaves me raw. So we're gonna have to go in another direction. We're gonna have to get.
Yeah,
some
you
better
really ought to be taking better care of your skin. So I would. Dr. Squatch is a great place to start. There's some other really good ones out there too, but I've just really enjoyed what they've done as a company. They're getting big, but they're also maintained the really craft nature of it. And it's really well-made soaps, man. I think it's hard to beat.
For Christmas, my kids got me this set of body washes. I guess they bought it in a man's magazine or something like that. And one of them smelled of bourbon. It had like a bourbon kind of bourbon thing. Yeah, but I was like taking 3 or 4 showers a day. It was ridiculous. I was just just wanted to get that that ballsy bourbon smell going. I was all into it, man.
So I've got a few that I bought last year that I haven't used yet. But so I've got the Batman collection from Dr. Squatch, and I've got the Star Wars collection from Dr. Squatch as well that I haven't used yet. But I do have some other soaps out there. I can't remember the actual brand of them now, but I have like 5 bars. One of them was made with Budweiser. I've got another that was made with a bourbon, and then I've got 2 military themed ones that I'd like to try. The problem is some of these bars are big. Like it takes me 2 weeks to go through a Squatch bar, and then if you get a bar that's bigger, I mean, you're talking almost a month worth of washing. So it's quite challenging to go through some of these soaps and be economical with it. I like to, I don't like to just use them and get rid of them. But I said, I got some stuff that's going to be fun this year. We're going to definitely do some more swatches, but I'm looking for some secondary stuff because I don't want to just, again, it was what we talked about, like manufacturers, like if all of my top 10 soaps were Dr. Squatch, I mean, what is that? Like, okay, I liked one, so which one's my favorite? We'll make that number one, and then what goes on after that would be, is appropriate. So I'm going to try to really spread out a little bit more this year. Not necessarily spread out in the shower, but I'm like to spread out my soap, my soap usage and brands that I'm using and trying out.
We're gonna diversify in 2022.
Yes.
Absolutely. Another thing that I wanted to bring up too, which has been kind of big for us lately, is our annual Cigar Family Charitable Foundation raffle, which officially kicked off Monday night. We already have in over $4,000 in our first 3 days. Really exciting stuff. We are already past the halfway point to what we raised last year of $7,000. Now, it's definitely early. There's still a long way to go. We have 39 days, 22 hours, and 19 minutes left until this actually ends. But we're already past the halfway point to last year's number of 7,000. Going into it, we're like, if we can beat that, maybe go to 10, that would be awesome. We already have people saying 20,000. I think Jay Davis said 25. Hey, whatever it is we raise is still great, and it goes to a great cause and in a great place and helps a lot of people, which is awesome. So it's really not about how much we raise, but it's still fun. It's still fun to keep tabs on it and see just how high we can get that number. Obviously, the more we raise is, the more we raise, the better it is for the kids who receive this money. So definitely trying to raise as much as we can. It is still live. New prizes being added almost every day. We've added some prizes from Evan Darnell, Red Meat Lovers Club, Drew Estate's prize. So I know we talked a little bit about Drew Estate, that we had confirmed that they were in, but we didn't have their stuff yet. So it's not up there yet. I don't think. I think Nicole still has to kind of put it in there. But I have it next to me, so I figured I would showcase it on the show since we're here tonight. It came in today. So up for grabs from Drew Estate is this massive yet beautiful Undercrown 10 humidor. Now, maybe you've seen this floating around on social media. Maybe you've seen it in shops or whatever. Maybe you have one. But this, I'm going to hold up. It's quite large here. This Undercrown 10 humidor is also up for grabs courtesy of our very good friends at Drew Estate. I'm going to flip this open in here. I'll take this foam out. I'm trying to do this reverse. There we go. Undercrown, beautiful. It's got the tray in there. Also in there is going to be a 5-pack of the Smokin Tabacco Cigar of the Year, the Undercrown 10, which is inside this humidor as well. And there is also going to be a Drew Estate artwork piece from Subculture Studios, which we don't have with us right now, but it is there. We'll have photos of that up on the Rally Up page. If you're looking to donate, you want to buy your raffle tickets, you want to help out the cause, the link is posted everywhere at smokintabacco.com, on our social media, Facebook. The link's in our bio on Instagram. It's easy to find. I'll put it in here. I'll put it in here in a second too in the chat comments so you guys can get a hold of it. But that is where we are at. And John actually was with us Monday night when we kicked it off. We showcased all the prizes. It was a great time. So far, to everyone who has either donated prizes to us or people who have bought in raffle tickets and donated money, thank you so much. It really means a lot to us and the Fuente and Newman families, and most of all the kids who this benefits in the Dominican Republic. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, I'll get that link posted up here in a second too in the comments, just so you guys have it. I'm trying to remember trying to get back on track here with our previous conversation. What did we leave off with? Lanceros? Forget.
Lanceros.
Yeah, it was the Lanceros. Love them, hate them. I love them. I think they're great. But yeah, they're not for everyone. So Hector, I'm smoking the knuckle sandwich, the Habano, and I'm definitely deep into the second third of this cigar, and it's great. I would still say, because I can't remember, I think we talked about this on the live.
The first time I was on.
The first time you were on. Yeah, the first time you were on, we talked about this. So now, about the second time you've been on, it's been a very slow smoke, but I finally was able to hold it off to your second appearance. This cigar is great. It started off a lot of pepper up front, and it cooled right down. A lot of solid flavor. Like I said, still great burn, still great construction. The flavor, the complexity, it's great. This is a great cigar.
Thank you. I
Um,
appreciate that. But
the
that's the kosher alternative. Remember what we talked about earlier.
I'm gonna still say, yeah, the Maduro I think I like better, but this is still a very good cigar. They're both very good. There's
I
definitely not one that
you,
overshadows the other.
if we were here, if the three of us were here on, I would tell you I like the Maduro. Eric would say he liked the Habano, and Jack would say he likes them both. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how it is, man. I mean, that's uh, nobody's ever completely satisfied, but we're satisfied enough with with which one is the best iteration of the blend or the Batola, you know.
Now, there's been some. We've talked about this on. I think we talked about this on Spare Notes. I think we talked. Yeah, I think we talked about me and Coop. I think talked about this. Historically, some of the like celebrity collaborations that have been done with cigars, sometimes they just. I don't know. They don't really take off as well as you'd think they would. But the knuckle
Right.
sandwich has really done well so far, from what I've seen. It's
I have an opinion on that, and I'll tell you what it is. And listen, I'm not going to blow wind up his kilt. He doesn't need me to blow any wind up his kilt. He's very successful in his own right. But is from what I understand, from what I can recall, most of the celebrity cigars that I've seen are sports related. Correct?
yeah. You got Big Poppy. There's Carl Malone.
Right. Your significant other, unless you're if you're not a sports guy, it might be lost on you. But let's just generalize and say most guys like one sport or another.
Right.
Your significant other might not like sports. She may have not have an idea who those people are, but you'd be hard pressed to find somebody who doesn't know who Guy Fieri is. I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
he kind of transcends the industry in the sense that, there are wives and girlfriends and boyfriends who, they might not be crazy about a cigar and not really have an interest in buying anything, but they want his cigar. They want to try his cigar. And outside of the fact that I think he transcends the industry, and this is not just our concept. When we were at the Great Smoke, that I saw you at the Great Smoke, several of the guys who were around us walked up to us and said, "Listen, he is going to be a great ambassador for the industry because he's not just an industry guy, or he's not just a football player or a baseball player or a basketball player. This is the guy who transcends, who goes outside of our little micro world of the cigar industry and male oriented stuff. He's bigger than that." So that said, this is a guy that didn't film for 2 days to drive with Eric and go to Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade and visit shops with Eric. And I'll tell you, we're like I said, we're still a small company. We're in our 10th year. Never once in our 10 years can I tell you that we had 100,000 cigars pre-ordered, sight unseen, sample untasted, untested. Nobody had tried these cigars, yet we were thousands of boxes pending their arrival to get shipped out. Well, a cigar that nobody's ever tried. That's very rare company. That's very rare air to be like, especially for a company of our size. So he's been a part of it. He rode with Eric for 2 days. Went to every shop. Went to every shop with Eric. He was great. Everybody loved him. He went to the Great Smoke. You saw what happened at the Great Smoke with people lined up to buy his box and to get him to sign, to take pictures with him. We had him at Lazona Palooza. People just fawning over him and really getting into him. And he's really, when he's on, I mean, this guy's taking pictures of everybody. Oh, my daughter really loves you. Oh yeah, give me your phone. Let's send her a video. He really engages with people. And one of the things that he's using, I guess we're using together, but it's really kind of his avenue, is our first event for this cigar was in Puerto Rico, which you don't really think of Puerto Rico as a big, when you think cigars, you don't think Puerto Rico, but there's a couple of shops in Puerto Rico, one in particular that did the event at, and he was there because they were doing diners, drive-ins, and dives. So we matched his schedule to where he was and he wanted to do an event, and Eric went, and the event was a huge success. And I think that's what you're going to see 10, 12 times during the year. He'll be out doing something and he'll be in a location. And, the biggest problem that we'll have is who gets the event and who doesn't. So that's, but that's a problem for later on that we'll have to worry about later. And that's something way above my station that I don't really concern myself with. But I think that him being behind it, and he's a smoker, man. Let me tell you, that guy had a cigar. One of the photos that generated the most buzz at the All-Star game was him sitting courtside with his own cigar in his mouth. people loved it. You know, he smoked cigars. He really was really interested in the process. Listen, I've met him one time. I've seen him I saw him at the Big Smoke, and I saw at the Great Smoke, and I saw him at our event. But I got to interact with him for 3 hours, and I was just feeding him cigars. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? I like this. I like this. This is the size. I got an idea of what he wanted. Then when I got an idea of what he wanted, then I went to the drawing board and I put together these 2 cigars for him, and and we went. We've gone from there. But he seems to be all in, and he's been a man of his word, and Eric's big about that, and I can only, we can only hope for the better, that it continues,
Absolutely. Any possibility to expand past those 2 cigars in the future for him?
I think so. I think you may see something right around Christmas time.
Interesting. Something to keep an eye out. Now, in terms of other stuff Espinosa may be working on, or peeling back the curtain a little bit, maybe a little teaser.
Yeah, we have. Look, I had a bunch of things I wanted to release at the show, but I think I've learned over the years that I just don't want to have. I don't want to have anything get caught in that jet stream that we were talking about earlier. So I'm going to probably just release. We're going to bring the new 6 provinces to the show, which is the 4th iteration of that project. We're going to do the Warhead that we do every year. We're going to release that, and we're releasing Eric's 10th Espinosa Cigars' 10th anniversary cigar at the show, and obviously we'll be showcasing the Guy Fieri cigars for those who haven't had it yet or haven't had a chance to purchase it, because even now, I mean, even after getting a couple of shipments, we're still out 3 out of the 6 Vitolas. I mean, it's moving very well. So, but we're only going to release a couple things, 3 things at the show, plus, and I think he'll be going to the show as well, which will be nice as well. I think that'll be great for the guys at the PCA to see him walking around, and it's good for us, and it's good for the industry, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Any extra exposure, for the industry is always good. It's a small industry at the
I
end of the
think
day.
I think somebody wrote on there that not everybody watches sports, but everybody eats. And listen, he's on 6-7 times a day on the Food Network.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's the biggest star on the Food Network right now. So
He's got restaurants all over the country too.
restaurants all over the country, and he's in right now. Right now, he's said all the right things and done all the right things. We can't complain. We couldn't be any happier right now.
Absolutely. Quick question. So on the 10th anniversary cigar, is that going to be a limited edition, or will that just be?
It'll be a one and done. It's
One and
only
done.
I don't think we'll do another one. It's our 10th year as a company, and we wanted to do something a little special, and I think it's going to go over very well.
Nice. We look forward to seeing all of that at PCA. We can't wait. Smokin Tabacco will be there. A few others might be making their return there this year.
John, you guys going back this year, John?
Yep, we'll be there. Yep.
La Flor Dominicana is back in the house, the back of the dance. Really excited for that as well. So I wanted to play our top 3. John, you haven't been on a top 3 in a while.
No. Let's do it.
I have to add him back in here. I don't know why that keeps happening. Our top 3.
Just got rid of John.
He bounced out. He bounced out in the transition, and I got him back in quickly though. But our top 3 brought to you by Room 101 Cigars. Watch the Smokin Tabacco show. Eat your vitamins. Eat your vegetables. Smoke Room 101. Top three. So I have an interesting one, and this always happens. I go into the show with like 2 good ideas. I'm like, I'm gonna run with I usually do one, then sometimes I play a second one, but then it always changes. So our top 3 tonight for you 2 gentlemen, only being at one brand so far in your career. If you had to work for any other companies, what would your 3 choices be? If you could go anywhere and there was instant hire, all your demands met, whatever it is. 3 other brands that you could go work for. Your company's closed up shop tomorrow, something happened. You're like, I got to go to another brand. Where would you go? Hector, I'll let you go first.
Wow, you gotta give me a second to digest that.
I mean, I can answer first. I have
Go
no
ahead.
desire. I have no desire to work anywhere else in the cigar business.
What
I've
John
been around
said.
long enough. I've had some, I've had offers, a couple over the years, but most of that stopped. I think it's pretty obvious now that I'm happy where I'm at and the future's bright here. So I've always said if I were to be out of cigars, I'd either be doing my own business and food related things. or something like that. But no, I honestly don't think about that and holding a gun to my head. If somebody's holding a gun to my head on that question and I had to answer, I guess I'd get shot in the head. So I
Wow.
just don't have any desire. I really, it's not something I've ever thought about.
Wow. Okay. I mean, but that's part of it too, because someone could just decline. Okay, that's fair. All right. Hector, you gonna go the
Listen,
same way?
and the reason, and I'm not going to go to this, I'm not going to go the same way because of any pressure that I worry Eric's going to see this, but it's just I think you're talking to two guys that when you say their names, right after their name, you always say who they work for. You know, that's
Absolutely.
Carney, that's LFD Carney,
Yeah.
and I'm Hector from Espinosa.
Well,
I
that's what makes
just
it so
would
interesting.
it to me it's and I'm going to use another baseball analogy. It's like watching Seaver when he wore a Reds uniform. It's just you can't do it. You know, you just can't do it. I can't imagine working anybody else. There's a lot of guys that I like in the industry, but you know, I working with other guys, you know, I just don't think I've reached a certain tenure where I'm at. I have a certain level of responsibility that I enjoy. Plus, you know, there's something really, and you really can't put a price on being there from day one, and you know, looking at what you achieved, and you know, you can't really put a price on that. Why would you even consider going anywhere else? When I worked for Miami-Dade, when I worked for the police department, never once did I say, oh, you know, I wouldn't mind working for the beach, or I wouldn't mind working for the city. I always liked working for Miami-Dade, and I think I'm a one team guy. You know, I want to go out with that one team, and I only have like maybe 6 years left. I'm 56 years old. I figure 62 will be it. But who knows? I mean, but as for right now, just like John says, you know, I've been with them since day one. John was with them 11 years. We've been with them for a long time, and our names are synonymous with that company. Could you imagine, you know,
Jeter in a Red
Altitude?
Sox uniform.
No, could you imagine, you know, can you, can you imagine Carney from Altitude, or you know,
No.
or Hector, you know, from Hector from, you know, I don't want to pick on any brand. I don't want them to think I'm picking, or Hector from whatever company. It's just, you know,
Hector
no,
from
I'm
Davidoff.
Hector from Davidoff. Can you imagine Hector from Davidoff? Can you imagine me following Herklotz around with a clipboard? I just couldn't. You know, where am I gonna? You know how much? You know how much? You know how much that material costs, man? That costs a lot of money, man. You know how much a suit for me is gonna cost? You know, you know, it's gonna cost $2,000. You get a pair of pants, man. That's a lot of sheep you got to shear. No,
You gotta wear a suit all the time.
I got to wear a suit all the time. I'm a sloppy fuck. I'm gonna have food all over. No, I can't, bro. I'm sweaty. It's just not a good look. Just not a good look. I'm kind of unkempt. You know, I'm an Espinosa guy. He's a floor guy, and that's who we are.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But sometimes sometimes it's interesting just to ask the question
Well,
and see what you get
yeah,
back.
it's a dream. I get, you know, I feel like with the dream job. Listen, this is. I never thought I'd have this job, so this kind of is a dream job right now.
There you go. You know, and that's special in its own way. You know, this is the dream job. This is where it is. You know, before we wrap up the show, you know, we've been through a lot tonight. You know, Hector's made 2 appearances on the show. Didn't think that would be possible so quick. I think you're the fastest.
Has anybody been on twice already?
There's been people on twice, but we've never invited someone back so quickly.
Yeah.
Listen, this is, you know,
that speaks volumes.
I've been on this show as many times as I've been on the Hustler podcast. I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting Mike know. So in case, you know, they're looking to bring me back on.
Don't say it. He might be behind me.
He might be behind you. You might sneak up. Hey, buddy.
Might show up out of nowhere. It has been a fun night. You know, I'm glad we were able to rebound. You know, once we got the second stream up, everything's been great. It's been smooth, you know, and we've had no interruptions. So, it's been a fun conversation. It's been a great time, John. It's been great to have you back. It feels like old times. It feels right, you know, to have you here.
Feels good.
It does.
It does. It reunited. Reunited, and it feels so good, you know.
Yeah, it does.
I'm happy. I'm glad to be on. Listen, any chance that anytime that I can be on, you know, talking about the company and our brand is good for the company, and it's good to make relationships with guys who cover our industry, and you know, to spend some time with a guy that I respect in the industry as well is also a lot of fun. You know, you can't go wrong. And I really like panels like this where it's a couple of guys. So I really enjoy this.
Yeah, it's a great time, and again, thank you
Mr.
for coming
Warmth.
on, Mr.
Huh.
Warmth. Thanks, great show. No, it is a pleasure to have you on. I know you guys are both really busy guys. Even just take the time just to come on. We appreciate it so much. It means so much to us. And it's a great time, and we never want it to end. If you go on to Cigar Coop, you can watch the show for like 4.5, maybe 6 hours. It's like a whole day.
This is nothing. Oh, this is nothing. This was only what, 2 hours? This is nothing, man. Come on.
Well, it was
2
supposed
hours.
to. The first hour was figuring it all out. So now that we got it figured out, we did the full
You
show.
should
So it was
listen.
perfect.
I don't. We have to bring him. I got to tell you that if you want to go ahead and start again and do the third one and knock it out now, we can. I mean, I've got time. I've got none of time.
You guys would have to do that on your own because I got a newborn baby. I got to cook dinner.
Oh, that's right, John.
My
John
wife's
had.
making blueberry muffins.
We said last year that John had the busiest 2021 of anybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
boom! It was like the dominoes falling. Bam, girlfriend. Boom, baby. Bam,
Yeah.
wife, marriage. Bam.
He did a lot.
It's funny. I run into people that I haven't seen in a while, especially the TA. They're like, "Hey, man, congratulations!" For everything. And I'm like, "Thank you very much."
Yeah.
You did so much in 2021 that how you gonna top 2022?
I'm not going to. I'm not
done.
going to top 2022. Yeah, I'm done. I told my wife I need a year off.
He's skating this year. He's just skating. He's just gonna skate this year.
See, that's why LFD didn't come to PCA last year, because John was like, "Listen, guys, we're gonna have to put the company on hold. I have to get married. I'm having a baby. Like, we can't do this. I have to do all these other things." But no, I mean, it's been great, and John's had a great year as well. So again, it's nice to have you back on the show again. It's been a long time. Next time you come on though, hopefully it's soon. I do need an official sober review. I guess I got to experience it again. And Hector, you didn't get to experience that, which is a shame, but it's okay. It's okay. Well, next time you come on, I'll make sure John does it.
Okay.
He gets into it. It's
yeah. Listen, there is nobody else doing soap reviews for right now. He has cornered the market on that.
Yeah, it's a monopoly.
Sure.
Take a couple of Disney trips, Carney. It'll make it all good.
Huh.
Paul DeGracco. So that's going to do it tonight, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching with us. If you're listening to us later on podcast forums, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. We appreciate it. Don't forget to check out our Cigar Family Charitable Foundation fundraiser. It is live for another 39 days. The link has been posted in the comments, but you can find it on all of our social media pages, on SmokinTabacco.com. It's in like 4 different spots. You can't miss it. So go over there, buy some raffle tickets. There's some cool stuff, and help out some kids while you do it. That's going to do it for us. We will see you next week. Take care, everybody.